So I grew up in Vancouver, BC and in Surrey, BC. My parents were both classical musicians, so at age 4 they started me on violin. Wasn't very good in school in general, elementary school or high school, but after I finished school, I went and had a quick stint in the Kamloops Symphony Orchestra. That also inspired me to leave BC and apply to the University of Toronto, where I moved. I didn't know anyone in Toronto when I came, and I did kind of, I would say, scrape by at university as well, but I did meet a lot of great peers. I really got into some of the jazz and the 20th century music that I was studying, and a couple of really standout instructors as well. So when I got into university, I was pretty skilled at cello, but I didn't really know what to do with it. So I started playing in local bands and playing music that I liked. In 2014, after more than a decade of playing and recording and touring, I was pretty burnt out, mostly because I couldn't seem to really get ahead in my career in a significant way, and I still couldn't really make all that much money. And I felt pretty discouraged, not just because of the money, but because I felt like no one was listening. But also in 2014, I managed to get accepted to the Canadian Film Centre in their music lab, which really opened the door to film scoring and what that could do for me and how I could do it. And I met a lot of people in that business, and it was very exciting. By the time I graduated UT, I felt pretty stifled creatively. It was 15 years playing classical music, and I really wanted to do something different. So I stopped touring in 2007. I eventually focused on recording because I loved it. So I started building my studio and working as a self-taught engineer and producer. In this context, I could really study technical things, and I felt smart for the first time in my life. I also had a great sense for finding really amazing talent, but despite some critical acclaim, my projects were usually not commercial successes. So a few years ago, just before the pandemic, I decided I wanted to do something with electric cello that I just didn't hear anywhere else. And also something that could use all my combined skills of composing and gear tinkering and production and engineering all in one place. So I started an electric cello-based solo act. Right after I started my solo project, I ended up being diagnosed with ADHD. And I realized that I had spent so many years supporting other people's music that I actually really wanted to do something that was my own, and I really had something to say. And so, for better or for worse, I'm here saying it now.